What's good, everybody? What's going on, man? It's Stephen Quast the second, aka Mr. Qualified. It's your boy, and we're back with another episode of the Wright Quality Podcast. Friends, co-hosts, remind the people who you are.
Ashley Wright the first. Salute me or shoot me.
Damn, that's a choice. Miguel. The one, not the two.
Indeed. Well, we are in the midst of the Western Conference. Wow, the conference finals in general. But did not expect both of these series to be 3-0. Maybe potentially I wouldn't have been surprised if the East was 3-0, but we'll get more into that. It shouldn't be 3-0 at all. It really
Neither of these series.
Honestly, the East really should be 2-1 if we be completely honest. But nonetheless, in Indiana's favor, might I add. But nonetheless, we can start with the East. That's going to be the quicker initial conversation to begin with. I don't think we're too surprised at this particular series, but just major observations from what y'all have seen through the first 3 games.
If the Celtics are struggling with the Pacers, either team from the West, even if Minnesota miraculously comes back from 3-0, will give Boston fits. That's all I have to say about that. Boston, I think, is a fraud. Like, I am not sold on Boston the way that they're playing against Indiana. I'm really not. Like you said, they should be down 2-1. Like, and I don't think Porzingis is going to add a whole lot. I mean, the way that, man, look, they're a fraud. I'm going to just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow, that's stronger words than I would use. I think Indiana's definitely blown 2 for sure. Like, clear ones. That first game, you want to go up 1-0. You have it. You throw a terrible inbounds towards your opponent's basket. Then, you don't switch screens. You don't just have everyone stand in the perimeter. I know you don't want to give it the quick 2, but, Jaylen Brown hits a tough shot. They go in OT. They sell. And then, okay, 0-1. Cool. Then you get smack game 2. It's like, all right, whatever. We can do this. You give up another bad game 3. Like, I don't know. Once you see that Drew Holiday is guarding your primary ball handler in like 10 seconds left, timeout. Automatically. We've seen what he's done. Devin Booker. I mean, do we have to say it? Like, call that timeout, Rick Carlisle. Like, why are you letting that run? It's a 1-on-4 even. You don't even have numbers. Let him get up there and then burn it. Like, once you, I don't know. Questionable decisions all the way around. But, it's expected. It's Boston. It's Indiana. With no Tyrese Haliburton, too, for Indiana. I think it was always going to be a tough shot. And that's why we have to get that game 3 too. If he's not there, what are we doing? Yeah, I don't know. Execution. But it's a young team. But Rick Carlisle's been there. So I feel like no excuse.
Yeah.
He's got to know about it.
Exactly. Yeah, people are saying that it's a young team, but I think as far as the head coach goes, that's not as much of an excuse. Like in game 1, that inbounds play, burn your timeout. You're about to shoot free throws. Like, let it go. I don't know why he's sitting on timeouts like that. It's been their Achilles heel, obviously. But for Indiana to have them down 18 at a certain point in that game 3 without Tyrese Haliburton, it feels like says more about Boston than it does say about Indiana. Like all your points for sure, Miguel, were absolutely true.
Yeah. So I think I watched game 1, or I saw the most of game 1 out of any of the games. Indiana played amazing in game 1. And not like a fluke amazing. I just think they put together like a really good game, and it was in the last minute that they gave that game up, and it sucks because
they didn't get a shot up.
But also, while Indiana is young, there's enough experience between the players, coaching staff, and the locker room in general. There's enough experience to where I'm not saying they're above the mistakes that they made per se, because for a lot of their main players, this is their first run, especially this deep. But it feels avoidable. It feels avoidable. Like the game 3 thing, like you can't. I think the game 3 was more of an inexperienced mistake than game 1, or at least in terms of how it happened. I think game 1 was avoidable in the sense of, like you said, you call that timeout, you don't force that pass. Literally burn the timeout, like run a play to at least get the ball in bounds.
Yeah.
Secondly, it's hard to blame Siakam for how he guarded Brown on the 3 because the way he caught it, the way the play was set up, he wasn't in a great position to foul before giving him three free throws potentially, and potentially the and one on top of that. So I get and actually applaud him for not fouling on the shot, and it was an extremely tough shot. But I don't know. There has to be some type of plan. There has to be some type of foul you can take. I don't know. I don't know exactly what the rule is if you foul off ball. Um, like while the ball is in the air, if you foul off ball or something like that, if that
They,
foul still counts or if that's like illegal, I'm not sure.
all
But
eyes are going to be on the play. Like they'll let that one
yeah,
go. Like they've been
that's
letting
real.
it go.
That's real too. But the simple, so kind of to Ashley's main point, the simple fact that in all actuality, it should be 2-1 Boston going into game 4, one wouldn't have surprised me.
Oh, two
Two,
on Indiana. No.
2-1 Indiana. Sorry, 2-1 Indiana.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if Boston still end up winning in 6 because I thought the series was going to go 6. And the two game, like game 1 and games 3, I expected Boston to give us those games just within the
Yeah.
series. The fact that they're more than likely going to sweep them, I think it does still speak loudly to Boston's inconsistencies, but it does still also shine a light on just how much experience and I guess just calmness in a certain sense matters. Because even with Halliburton, it's like he's gonna. Somebody said this in one of my group chats, but Halliburton's gonna have to figure out like what type of player he wants to be, and I think that that's gonna be the next key to whatever leap he takes or doesn't take, is him figuring out like what type of player am I gonna be? Because I think this is a year he took a large leap. I won't say he put the league on notice, but I think next year the league will be more like teams are going to be more prepared for that style of play. So now, how do you respond since you won't be able to just run and gun every single team? They'll be expecting that now.
Yeah.
So I expect it to be a better series, but I mean Boston was always the better team, so I'm not super surprised. What do you all think is the reasons for Boston's inconsistencies?
It's weird because it's like it's the same inconsistencies that they've had the past since 2018, since Tatum's rookie season. Like they get this far and then they decide to let their flaws show. They're making mistakes too that should be inexcusable because of the experience that they have. So in game 3, it's no reason you're down 18 points against Indiana without Tyrese Halliburton. In game 1, that was a great job coming back, but you shouldn't even be in that position at home, opening on your floor. You've had way more rest time. Like, come out dogs. Jason Tatum, I shouldn't see you backing down Ryan Nimhard and then settling for a fadeaway. Andrew Nimhard. Like, what are we doing? There's no aggression. I feel like now it's been Jaylen Brown that's been showing a lot of growth at this point in the season, but I don't think anyone is really like rallying around him outside of Drew Holiday. Like Derek White he's been valid, but like he's not been playing the game that we've grown accustomed to throughout the entirety of the season. So I think maybe it has something to do with a little bit of comfortability on Boston's end. But they're gonna have to fix that and fix it quick because they are getting to the finals. But any team that they run up on from the West is they're gonna pounce on that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. Everything that I was going to say, you kind of said. So
My bad.
there's nothing to say. No, that's fine. I think I don't know. Vibes. That's the only word. That's the word of the year. If there was one for 2023, 2024 podcast season, the vibes just are okay. It's a Boston team. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't. Congrats.
is
Let's hope let's see if they get theirs. If they don't, like I said,
so
I also said if it's Luka, it's going to be a bit of a cushion. They're like, well, He's kind of goated.
And Kyrie for that matter. But I still am not giving
Ooh.
him a pass.
Oh no, yes.
I
Please.
think it's
We will not. Media will.
yes. I think it's interesting that I think Tatum's inconsistency is so intriguing because I don't think anybody doubts that Tatum is generational. Might not be the word. That might be a bit strong. But Jason Tatum is a top tier talent, especially in the league right now.
Seasonal.
What? Sorry, what I said? What'd you say?
Seasonal.
Seasonal.
He's not generational. He might be like seasonal. Yeah.
Maybe that's
Fall
yeah.
season, but
Time to
once winter
time.
hits,
No, that's a better way to put it. But it's so odd because the talent is there, but I think it'll come down to hardware for him. Like I don't think anybody doubts talent, skill. Like nobody doubts what he's able to do in his frame with his skill set, right? But it's inconsistencies within the game. I think I saw Perk and he was talking with somebody. Ironically enough, Perk was making a little bit more sense at the time. But the other person was arguing that Tatum just gets a lot of flack and like he is this great and essentially kind of like generational player and that he'll show us that on this championship run. And Perk was essentially saying it's not just a game. Like he has to do it for a stretch of games. And I think that's the problem. But yeah, he can't string together games like that. And I think that's where there's especially let's just say what it's gonna be. It's gonna be Boston, Dallas, right? Let's just accept that there's gonna come a point where he's gonna have to string two, potentially three great games together to really put Boston in the position to win the finals. And I think that's gonna be the true, as the kids say, diamond tester for him. And that's what it's gonna come down to. But Gail, you had a point.
I think it's weird. They've been together for a long time, but I think that with new pieces being introduced this season, I feel like they're still learning who's going to take what game almost. Like where it's like with Marcus Smart, it was kind of easy. It was like, all right, dump it to Jason and Jalen and let them get theirs. And even then, they still didn't figure out like what they were as two wing guards, like game to game. Like if Jalen's having a good game, more than likely Jason's going to be a bit more passive and just sit there and take, pop shot threes. So I don't know. The dynamic is still, I think, raw, even though they've been together for like what, 7 years?
Yeah, they had a lot of different looks though. So you make a really because Boston has had a lot of different roster constructions. Obviously, this is the best iteration, but in a
Al
weird
Horford's still their best player in the playoffs. Like
crazy.
most important, like most valuable. Like, and it's insane to see. Like recipes are not lost. Like a good forearm to the gut of any big man, a little bit of a leg out on a screen, like those vet moves, and then he's gonna hit 7 threes, like the most he's hitting it. Like you're not, oof, you know,
yeah, no,
you gotta live with that. If you're gonna get that done on you, you're gonna lose a series. I've seen it. I'm a Bucks fan. Terrible.
No, it's yeah, no, it is interesting. I do think you've talked about this before, Gail. I think it's interesting that as the two wing look or aesthetic, they haven't really figured out how to take turns. But what's ironic is that Dallas has figured it out with that backcourt. So I think that'll be interesting to see, but we'll touch on that a little bit later.
It was that time I went to Kubernetes and I took a picture with Al Horford, and then our shooting powers combined that day, and now ever since, lights out.
Shooting powers combined is diabolical work.
It was on a digital camera, so it was, or like a film camera, so it was one of those where it's like,
Anyway,
hey man, you'll see August 4th. You'll see that'll be an important date.
Okay, so Boston is more than likely going to sweep. I think any idea of Indiana, I think any chance of Indiana truly getting a game has been, yeah. I don't think
oh man, it's been
painful.
To the West though, to the more shocking series of these conference finals.
My Ant-Man.
Thoughts, man. What is the biggest shock or surprise of the Mavs leading this series 3-0?
The Mavs leading 3-0.
Yeah.
Cause what? Like I knew the series, I just knew it would be competitive. Like, but
Which
it's
it has been.
crazy.
Which it
Yeah,
has been.
each game, I was just about to say it's crazy because each game has been competitive, but it's just like, what in the world? Like, who
Closer.
thought who thought Daniel Gafford could play like this?
I mean, we all said when Dallas made these trades, we all said these pieces made sense. I don't
They
know if we
did.
thought it would gel this quickly. Because
Mm-hmm.
it's also not as if I wouldn't say that Dallas has had an easy route either. I
No.
don't think the
They
Clippers
haven't.
series was easy. I don't think the OKC series was easy. I think
No,
Dallas might have benefited from in both series,
The
maybe
lesser of two evils.
yeah,
Facing like
in a sense,
as you know, they didn't have to face the Nuggets. You know, like
right.
they missed out on some comp. The Suns maybe not,
I was
but
just gonna say, what did they miss out on the
Maybe
Suns?
maybe it was
just
really only the Nuggets.
just the Nuggets.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
if they're sweeping the Wolves who defeated the Nuggets, I'm not saying they would have swept the Nuggets, but I'm saying would they not have won that series too?
I don't know.
It's
I
hard
think
to say. It's matchups, you know.
but the stride they hit in the last two games versus OKC to now, I think that's been like the separator for them. And I think that momentum that it seems like they'll be carrying into the finals, I think that's what might be the most beneficial to them. I don't think game one was as winnable as game two for Minnesota. Obviously, they had a chance in game one, but I mean, Kyrie had a great first half. Luka had a great
Yeah.
second half and fourth quarter. So yeah, game one kind of it just favored more toward Dallas. Game two was supposed to be Minnesota's game.
Mm-hmm.
There is absolutely no reason Minnesota should have lost that game. But I mean, again, that last minute or so, Ant's turnover, um, the decision to not either blitz the ball or to not make sure McDaniels got back to Luka.
That
And
was
it's hard because we can get into the Rudy conversation because I don't think this is Rudy's fault, right? Like there aren't too many bigs that are expected to guard the perimeter, let alone guard two of the best scorers in the
it's
league. But at a
it's a
certain
label.
point, a decision has to be made. Either if he's going to be out there, you're going to have to blitz and make sure that switch doesn't happen, or you can't play him. Because there's no reason you should have left the fate of that game in the hands of Luka 1-on-1 with Rudy. Like
Oh God.
No.
it's just you can't do that. We all know the likely outcome of that.
Every guard's dream. You don't care if it's a DPOY big man. Like it's barbecue chicken out there.
It
Like
is.
he's an interior defender, the last line of defense. But
So
I meant to be out there with that man.
so what do you do with Rudy? What do the Wolves do with Rudy?
I think the solution is what you said. You have to Rudy's gonna have to hedge Luka, and I guess just play in between his man and Luka, and then until McDaniels or whoever can recover, then dive back down. But it's like, man, it's Lob City with Gafford, so it's kind of like you pick your poison. But I guess a dunk is less points than a three, so it's
So
difficult.
something I think that worked, at least that I saw in game three that worked, that I feel like they're just going to have to commit to. They're going to have to make somebody else make decisions. And I think that it's their best chance. If you're going to blitz the ball and leave the middle open, you have to force Gafford or Powell, like depending on if Lively probably won't come back for this series if he doesn't have to,
Mm.
but I'm sure he'll be ready for the final, seeing as it didn't seem like it was a serious injury. The scans came back okay. But your best chance is to make somebody else make decisions. If you're gonna allow for Luka and Kyrie to make decisions with the ball in their hands,
It's a wrap.
and the thing is, Jaden McDaniels is playing some pretty damn good defense. I'm not gonna lie.
Better
He's
offense.
playing some pretty good defense. It's just what can you do? You can't do
Hmm.
anything about what Luka's doing. Same with Kyrie. I think
Hmm.
Alexander Walker is playing some decent defense. I think
Hmm.
Ant's doing a decent job, right? But we're talking about the NBA scoring champion And we're
Yes.
talking about two of the best scorers in the league, probably top 5 pure scorers in the league for a lot of people. So like there's only so much that they can do. So if you're not going to force somebody else to make decisions, they're better. They're better right now. They're more experienced right now. And we can talk about the Timberwolves having to pay their dues, which it seems like essentially they're doing, and maybe, Ant more specifically, but that's your
That's
best shot.
probably
That's your
true.
best shot is making other people make decisions. But it's a bit too late for
It
that.
is. It is. But what's wild is, like you said, the Wolves aren't playing bad basketball at all.
Well,
To the
one player
exception.
is. One
Yeah,
player.
I was just about to say, to the exception of Carl Anthony Towns. But they're outside of him, it's not terrible basketball. So for them to be down 3-0 is like, what?
Nas Reed has been their best player the entire series.
And maybe that's the issue. Maybe that's the problem. Like, no knock to Nas, but
So
man, where you at?
let's open Pandora's box on Cat here. Let's just go ahead and just
Mm.
let's just get into it, because Ashley, you were saying it. You were saying give Cat a chance, and
I did.
we gave Cat a chance, and for a while there, he was doing all right.
He was.
What happened in this series?
I don't know.
He, you want me to tell you from
Yeah,
someone that's been in Minnesota for years? They got to see this man.
Give us some insight.
His temperament. I was saying it. They'd be better off if it was Nas Reed in the playoffs and they had to trade. Remember, it was time to trade, and I was like, they could trade Cat. That is his temperament in the playoffs is like it's like he's a hot potato. And every time he has it, he's just got to get it out quick. Even when he shoots, he's got a quick release. So it doesn't help any when he's like getting it in these positions. And it's like there's 17 on the shot clock. There's like a minute and a half in the game. You're down 4. And he's just like putting it up right away. And they get a board and they're just dribbling it down slowly. He just doesn't have I don't know, like the composure. It doesn't seem like it. He's like really excessively like crying for fouls, and that's in a game with Luka Doncic. So it's like, and he's not engaging with contact as much as he should be. He's like bumping and fading like a guard would. Like, you're 7 feet. It's Daniel Gafford. He is your equal. And now, since you did that, he's just gonna go vertical and just pop that down. Like, I don't know. He's not. Like, Nas Reed is a big guard, but Cat is a big guard. And they're different, if you know what I mean. Like, if you can hear what I'm saying, I don't know.
no, it makes sense. I
No,
get
it
it.
does.
I
Like,
get it.
Cat plays like his personality. Like,
That picture with DeMarcus Cousins, he scored on that picture. He scored in that picture. But it's
mhm.
just, Boogie is just kind of just there, and Cat's giving it his all. Like, I don't know.
Y'all are sick, bro. Hey, that's sick. That's sick
That's
commentary.
just
You know
my
that
that's my
video?
analysis.
You know that video of Cat being like, after all that, like that's how Cat plays.
And I love him, and I love the guy. I feel for him. I feel like he is a human being, like 10 out of 10. Like, it just
Yeah,
overall, he's hilarious. I'm rooting for him,
I am
but
too.
sometimes there are just moments where it's like, Ben Simmons was choking him out, and it looked like he tapped. Like, there's funny moments within his career as just an NBA player, like regardless of who he is. And I feel like that stamp is just hard to shake. It's almost like it. Not that he's. Oh my God, I'm not gonna compare it to rap. I'm gonna save
Oh man.
these bars. Uh, what?
I'm just curious as to what comparison was going to be.
Are
There's
you?
only two rappers that I could think of that could be his NBA equivalent, but I'll let the viewer decide who those
Is
two are.
Aubrey one of them?
Could be.
I
The other one could be for another reason.
don't know where you're going with this. Is he light? Is he light skinned?
Hmm.
He might be right behind you.
I'm hollering.
That is so disrespectful.
Not disrespectful. No disrespect in it.
Personally, it feels disrespectful to me to compare Cat to J. Cole.
No, Drake is the
It's like
disrespectful one.
posting a diss and deleting it 3 days later.
Hey, hey, I forgot. That's
Hey,
not in my timeline. It's been all
talk
music to
about
us.
we just brush over that. We brush
Yeah.
You,
over that.
Never happened.
I'm weak. No, I'm mad at how accurate both of those comparisons could be.
but
Yeah, no,
uh,
but in all honesty though, so this is interesting because so we were kind of when the Wolves beat the Nuggets. I know, Ashley, man, you were kind of not praising Cat, but we were talking about how this is as much an opportunity for Cat as it was for Ant, given that Cat's been in the league for 9 years. And
Crazy.
him showing up like this in this moment is tough because it's his first conference finals, right? So are we surprised that he is kind of falling short? Not necessarily. I'm not like I wish he was playing better, but I'm not necessarily shocked at how much he's struggling. But my thing is how much time do you have to redeem yourself given that I don't think it's gonna be an easy path back to the conference finals next year. You know,
It's
and
totally
not
not.
and not that I feel like the Wolves necessarily they don't have to make any changes if they don't want to. However, given how the league is beginning to shape up, I still would revisit and say it's a risk worth considering because this is also probably where Cat would have his highest trade value
Mm-hmm.
as well. If you're going to try to make a move to stay relevant now, if I'm the Wolves, you're probably going to get the best trade package for him now just because you have no idea what next season looks like. But if they want to run it back, they can. But it's just really shocking. I think if he plays better, this easily could be a 2-1 series Wolves, or if nothing else, at least 2-1 Mavs with them having, more optimism going into game 4. So
I think I had one point of analysis. If they just leave him in a room with a VCR and a tube TV and just showed him Al Horford highlights, I think the Wolves are astronomically a better team. If he just slows down his pump fake and then just goes through people's chests in the post and just plays, bigger to his size, I think we are not let Nas Reed be Nas Reed. You don't have to be a big guard. You have guard like qualities, but just slow the game down. He play like I'm saying. I don't know why he plays so fast. It's like you're 7 feet. You can just how Brook Lopez is just do a big pivot. Just use your space, but he plays. He's like kind of hunched over. He's taking up he shoots with a small radius.
Mm-hmm.
It's
He
a great
does.
shot, but like I don't know. He could be taking up more space.
he's better than Al offensively, though. Like I don't think that. I
Not in
think
the playoffs.
I think well, true, but I just think Cat needs to be more aggressive. I don't have a problem with Cat's game outside the fact that I think that he shoots too much. Not that he shouldn't utilize his shooting ability, but I think he depends on it too much.
Hey, Al
But
Horford shot 13 threes.
Yeah, I was thinking the Al Horford comparison more so from a fundamental standpoint. Like that's the basis of your game is Al Horford.
mm,
After that, like you said, he's better offensively, so expand from there. But like if it's not your shooting night, refer to the Al Horford game. Like he can obviously do that. He is, like you said, 7 feet. He's huge. Why can't you go into the chest of a Daniel Gafford? I'm not saying that Daniel is small or punk, but it's like you can use that size to create some space within the post.
Like Al's going to create an offensive foul before he's going to ask for a foul on
It
offense.
is. Yeah.
this is true. This is
Like
true.
temperament. Like he's just like
Well, I mean, he's a vet though, but also again, I think that's more vet status at this point for Al. And but that does go to the temperament argument as well because, but I don't think I th- I think Cat's reached his ceiling, and I think that's ultimately what might
That's
be
sad.
might be the problem.
I mean, he
Because
definitely
how much better
bagging Jordan.
how much
But
better can he be? How much better do we
He
expect Cat to be?
he can be.
Well, he can play better.
Okay, so yeah, you're right. So the Denver series, if the Denver series Cat is consistent, then I think in turn we're like, oh, Cat got so much better. Meanwhile, this is all stuff that's been in his bag. It's just on a consistent basis. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like he does have the room to be much better than what he is. It's just consistency at this point. I don't think there's anything else Cat can show us that would elevate his game.
like this man dropped 60.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
Yeah. You
what
could
what's really going on? I know it's hard when you're playing with different, Ant is blossoming and now he's like having to take it's not as, it's not the same. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Hey
can
man's
you
gonna have to figure it out. And Nas Reed, the emergence of Nas Reed. They have towels of this man,
but even so
tattoos.
I think that at his best, Cat absolutely has second option talent. Even on a potential championship team. At his best. To Ashley's point, I don't think he is consistently at his best. Can Cat be the second option on this team? Can Minnesota trust that, given that they maybe gave themselves a 2-year window, given what people might be expecting from them now? And 2 years generous. But I'm just saying, given their talent, given that they're still very much in the raw stages and it's still very raw, I think McDaniel still has a lot of room to grow as well. So assuming that they get better, 2-year window to get over the hump and at least make a finals or potentially win one, but still, like I said, generous. But can
Yeah.
Cat be that second option?
Indeed. Wait. Yeah, he can. He can.
Should Minnesota trust that he will be?
You give him this off season.
It's nearly been a decade.
It has nearly been a decade, but within that decade, this is the most success that they've enjoyed.
Because of who?
The
And
team. I mean, but the team has still played
The the
well.
team defense. I apologize to Jaden McDaniels earlier in the year. I was referencing a friend's tweet saying that he played CTE ball, but he's been hooping. I I don't know.
Okay, so
The identity is still there if Cat's not there. Like there are a lot of pieces that
true.
like maybe you could facilitate him for a Jalen Williams. Maybe this is the angle of a trade. Hear me out. They get a big that they need that's not skinny and
I don't
that's it.
think they're coming off Gobert though. That's the thing.
No, I'm saying Towns is your only option. I'm saying Towns goes, and then you
Okay.
have to stick with Gobert and have a really good guard set that can get over screens and still have him camp in the paint.
You can't get the thing is, I don't think Minnesota's gonna find who's a better option that's available and that fits better than
right. What do you turn Cat into?
It would have to be another elite guard. I feel like that top of my head, Jalen Williams came up, but it could be anyone.
because I don't even so if you do trade Cat's contract, whatever is left of it, and maybe you shoot for more rotational pieces, but then you sign somebody. I don't know what their, cap space looks like. But then again, I'm trying to think of free agents, and I'm like, what free agent makes sense to go there with that identity?
Yeah.
So I don't.
Lord knows.
I feel like Minnesota more than likely will end up giving him this offseason, and they probably aren't going to make too many changes. But it's not like Conley has a lot left. Not that he looks bad, but I just don't think naturally that he has a lot left in the tank, given that this is year like 16 or 17 for him.
The big Sean of the NBA.
I'm crying. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what Minnesota does, but I do think this is a getting swept will be a disappointing way to go out
It
for sure.
would.
Yeah.
Um,
First ever reverse sweep.
yeah, but I
Oh
mean,
wow.
It'd be incredible. I mean, hey, let's all send our collective energy to Anthony Edwards. That's our only hope, our only way that we'll ever get this back. He needs 50 a game.
and doesn't have enough in and won't have enough in the tank. I think that's
He
what's
look
gonna
he
They
be.
do
looks
look
tired.
depleted. They look tired, yeah.
Yeah, they're young. He's yeah. But these were the expectations. Where are you, Michael? 25.9, buddy.
Oh,
I forgot. That's what I gotta do. 25.9. You can't do it. He's
was the
not him. I don't think they can do it. Mavs in
was
4.
the was the Anthony Edwards praise too premature?
No, no. He's 22. What he did was pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
Like, think about this season as a whole, not just the past 3 games that he's played against Dallas, like as a whole up until this point.
Game 7 Nuggets
Like,
at their home. Like,
yeah.
he I think the praise the Michael stuff is a little,
No, that's insane.
where
Yeah.
yeah, come on now.
That
But
is
I mean, he's at the aura as, the Ute them saying, I think that's really it. He's got that, you know,
he does have a
about the
he
pan outside. No, yeah, he's just got, a swagger about him that just feels like, he's even down 0-2 is like, I hope my team isn't, doubting,
Yeah.
this. Like, we still got this. Like, I'm like, I do like, he's a refreshing, take on the game. He's always persistently optimistic, got faith in himself, confidence in himself. He's going to talk it. So,
but yeah, so that's yeah, I mean that's pretty much it on Minnesota. I kind of want to go back to Dallas for a minute. We haven't talked too much about Dallas specifically. Thoughts on let's see, I think I want to do Luka first. Thoughts on Luka's performance, not only in this series, but throughout this playoffs, and what Luka getting to a finals means for his career at this point.
Mm. Getting to a finals, I don't think changes too much.
It'd be his first one.
I think winning the finals would change something. As because we know what he can do. Like at this point, we're just seeing like how you keep saying pay your dues. At this point, we're seeing the payoff of him getting bounced in the first, bounced in the second. Like we're seeing the payoff of the experience that he's garnered. Um, as far as getting to the finals, yeah, it'll be his first one, but I don't know if it adds anything to Luka himself or like his legacy.
Hmm.
Um, to me, it would be him winning, especially against Boston. Yeah, it would be that.
I don't know. He's a great player. I think this is a great run that he's on. One of those where it's just like, he's a closer. Like, you keep him within 5 points of the game, you've made a mistake. You have to bury him early, because if not, he is going to, cook you on 1 or 2 or 3, and now you're down 3-0. But can we talk Kyrie?
Oh yes, no, we were getting there. We were getting there.
Uh,
That's why I said I want to do Luka first.
anyway, no, yeah, with Luka, yeah, I think this is his emergence. This is like that time. Like,
That's what I was getting at. I think that
yeah,
we like you said, Ashley, we've seen Luka pay his dues, and I mean, Luka's a top 5 player in the league, and I think there are versions of Luka that almost feel like he really could be one when Luka is really engaged, when Luka's in shape. Which is weird because Luka got one of them weird dad bods
He
anyway.
does.
Like
Paul Pierce body.
When
doesn't
we say Luca's emerging,
He had emerged. This is emergence to the finals. I feel like
well,
like, I
so
think
what's a
that
different
is a
word?
big part of his
it has to be
thing
different
where
because
he
I
needs
feel
to
like
make.
he's arrived already. Like,
I think so. Luka is in this space now. This is year 6 for
yeah.
Luka. I think when I'm thinking of emergence or when I'm thinking of this period of Luka's career, Luka's done a lot in 6 years.
Mhm.
A lot. I mean, when you talk about scoring, when you talk about what he's done, like with the triple doubles and everything, like it's still a little bit early and he hasn't cracked too many like records yet. But like I think he's already at 10,000 points. If it's not 10,000, well, he's for sure at 5,000. I think he's
Mhm.
maybe cracked 10,000 or he's close, something like that. But he's kind of,
Yeah.
you said what?
I said, yeah, probably.
But he's kind of on, he's parallel to Bron in the sense of how fast they were moving up the ranks in that regard. In terms of like how fast they're reaching these scoring milestones and this, that, and the third. Uh, in the same way that Bron kind of had that breakthrough in '07, and it was just him, but then he didn't get back until that stretch in Miami. I think we're in
Mhm.
this phase where, like, when they got to that conference finals, like, yeah, beating Phoenix was one thing, but then I think they got swept or lost in five to Golden State that year. But I mean,
Yeah.
Golden State was just on their run, and
Yeah.
Luka almost won that Phoenix series single handedly with him and Brunson, at the
Mhm.
time. But like they was figuring out that like the Porzingis match like wasn't working, so it was still like a raw team and the team wasn't really built to like go compete for a championship. Whereas that happens, Kyrie comes, they don't make the playoffs at all last year. I think they damn near tried not to make the playoffs last year. And then you come back, then you come back this year, things start to make sense. Kyrie is healthy. Kyrie
Mhm.
plays a full season. Him and Luka mesh well when people thought they didn't last year.
Lively was a great pick.
Lively was a great
Yes.
pick
PJ
in the trade
Washington.
deadline. So Dallas,
Probably best trade
mhm.
deadline.
So
Mhm.
Dallas now has a team built to compete. And for Luka, Luka now has everything he's ever needed. He has another closer and another scorer, one that he can trust. Porzingis wasn't that. He now has all these lob threats: Gafford, Lively, Washington, Jones. Like he has all
Mhm.
these options. They have enough shooting. You got to think they're doing this without Maxi Kleber too. So they're
Mhm.
still down like a main rotational player and another shooter and another big at that. So it's like when I'm thinking of emerging, I'm thinking of the fact that the way this team is built, they have a pretty good average age as well. Luka's only going to get better. Kyrie, I think, is in. Kyrie may not be at his peak, but he's still in his prime, in my
I agree.
opinion.
I agree.
Did
So
you see him shooting?
Exactly.
you, so I'm just like, so I'm like,
Dribbling?
you know what I'm saying? So I'm
Yeah.
like, the position that they are in, given Luka's career more than Kyrie's career, I think Luka has the opportunity to really use this next window for them to separate himself. Like, yes, you're doing all the scoring. Yes, you're this young phenom that came into the league virtually dominating, but can you rattle off one or two in a row? Can you get two in three? And I think with Kyrie, I think with the team that's constructed, who they all can only get better. Lively only is going to get better. PJ
Yeah.
Washington in this system on this team is only going to get better. Kyrie's already solidified. Luka's probably only going to get better than what he already is. So I think they have a legitimate chance for Luka to say, no, if I'm top five, if I'm top three on people's lists, I only got to go through one other top three player to get to the chip for real. And that's going to be Jokic. And depending on what Denver does, they may not have the depth to make, more championship runs if they don't figure that out. So when I say emerging, I'm more so thinking about
Like
this
a
being the,
consistent threat.
But like
yeah.
Jokic had like a couple MVPs before he went to the chip, and I feel like when he went to the chip, that's when he like emerged kind of for
Hmm.
national masses because like no one's really they're like who is this guy? I'm not watching Denver games. There was a time, but
Yeah.
If we're talking about emerged in a sense of becoming a consistent threat, I understand that.
Okay.
I understand that. I feel like
phrasing that's
as
on
far
us.
as, huh?
Or phrasing that's on us.
Oh, no, 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 good, good, good. Yeah, but I understand that. I get it. I get it. Because I do feel like this is the year where Dallas does become a consistent threat for not only, the West, but also a title as a whole in the league. So,
Yeah. But to Kyrie though, I love this redemption tour for
okay.
Kyrie.
I do too.
I love it. I really do. I think, and a lot of people have talked about it, and I never like even when it came to like the vaccination stuff and all that. I never, as far as Kyrie on the court, I don't think there was ever really a question. But I think for me, what stood out when I'm looking at when Kyrie left Cleveland, he left Cleveland because he didn't want to be little bro to Bron, basically. And his Boston stint was weird,
Mhm.
just weird, and it's kind of hard to describe. Like he played great while he was there, and I guess they started kind of building for the future. And I don't know how much of it was Kyrie wanted out, and how much of it Boston maybe realized, okay, we can build with these two young wings that we
Mhm.
have. Um, but just the way that kind of ended and went was a little bit weird. And I'm not saying Kyrie's not at fault for that, but I think when he went to Brooklyn, it was another super team, and then it became all these expectations, and then that's when the vaccination thing, and then it was the anti, man thing. And there's all these other things off the court happening, and we just didn't see Kyrie play, but we saw him get crucified in the media. And I think like if you hear Kyrie talk now, you can tell that he really like that seemed to be somewhat of a dark season
Yeah.
just in his life in general. And I don't think too many people were paying attention to that at the time, but I think since he's gotten to Dallas, the level of peace that he seems to just be at in general, but what that allows him to do on the court, I think has been amazing. And we're starting to see the Kyrie that we were seeing in 2016 in Cleveland. Even and the talent's always been there, but I think the focus, we're seeing somebody who he's the one player not only on Dallas, but who's left in the playoffs that really knows what it takes to go get a championship and defy the odds to do so. So this redemption tour for him is has been really good to see. And I think that he has been amazing for Luka, which is another large reason for the point I was just making. I think his leadership has probably been his best attribute and quality at this point in his career. But yeah, I love this arc for him. I love this arc for Kyrie.
I do too. Um, it's awesome. I'm excited for him. And like you said, it was never truly in question like his talent. It was just off the court stuff. And it's weird because like the off the court stuff and him not playing made us forget who Kyrie really is. And I think this is the first season we've been able to see Kyrie playing at such a high level since winning that championship in Cleveland. And I think if he's able to go to Dallas and help Luka win a championship, like this says a lot about Kyrie, right? He was the first to go to Brooklyn. Brooklyn was going to be his team. Then in comes KD, in comes James Harden. And people are like, okay, well, maybe Kyrie only won because of LeBron. KD won because of Steph, da 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 da. Well, now this is Kyrie's ability to prove to us it was him. Like, he has the talent also to uplift a team and really help them reach that peak. And I think that's the most special part about this arc.
And that was also the knock on him when he first went to Boston. It has been the knock,
Mhm.
like you were just saying, on his career. And it didn't all kind of click till you just said that. But his knock was always, can he be the leader? Can
Yep.
he be
In the playoffs, he never really was.
I mean, he also didn't have to be. It's hard to be the leader if you're playing alongside Bron. But
No,
Yeah.
I'm
when you
saying in Boston specifically.
Oh
oh,
yeah.
oh,
And he
yeah,
was injured during that first run.
Yeah, then
yeah,
the last two, then like he got boxed by Eric Bledsoe, and then the second year was a Drew. I could be wrong. I feel like that
I think he
timeline.
was gone by the time we
No,
had
no, no.
got Drew.
Drew, yeah, Drew's Brooklyn,
Yeah,
and yeah.
Mhm.
So,
yeah,
but in Boston, he didn't have great playoff series against us. I think
correct.
we took him 2 years back to back too. I know we
Ye-
got him the first year, and he was shooting. He shot. That was the year where he was like, "Oh yeah, well, I went 6 for 23. I just got to shoot, more." And he went 5 for 24 the next game.
Yeah, I
So
think
yeah,
we no. So 18, I think 18, if I'm not mistaken, we lost to them in 7, and then in 19, it was first round.
was that with Kyrie or
Kyrie was out though, but
yeah?
I think that was part of the reason why, because that's back when they had Rozier.
Rozier,
Uh,
yeah.
Yeah,
they were
Terry.
down Kyrie, and I think it was like a 2-7 matchup or a 3-6 matchup. But people thought like we could push that series to 6 or 7, and we did because I
Yep.
think we still had Jabari at the time.
Mhm.
Man, yeah, Lord.
Right. So, but then 19, we ended up beating them in 5 because I think we played them second round. And we lost the first game, and that's when Paul Pierce famously said he thinks that the series is over. Then we go off and rattle, 4 straight, and then of course
Yeah.
go lose to Toronto. But yeah, so like that's yeah, like I said, the Boston stint was just weird for him. But I mean, I feel like he has an amazing opportunity. I feel like Kyrie is in what year 13? This is year 13.
Oh, yeah, he's old.
I'm old.
Yeah. But like Luka's in year 6. But the way
Mhm.
Kyrie looks, the shape he's in, Kyrie probably still got, barring injury, Kyrie probably got at least 2, 3 of like where he's at, I think.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Because he came out
Yeah.
young too. So I think he's about what, 31 or 32, maybe somewhere in
Okay.
Yeah.
there. So he said, I say he probably got until about 35 before he really maybe lose another step. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But
Yeah.
but I mean, he's playing great. He's playing great. So, um, yeah, but Love, I, I don't feel like I'm rooting for any particular team. Like, yeah, as a Kyrie fan, like I'm if Kyrie wins, I'll be excited. I'm not gonna be mad like if
Mhm.
Boston wins. So it's like I don't have a true dog in the fight, but I think also just think the storyline of Boston Dallas, given the players, Kyrie playing Boston, Luka versus Tatum, like, can Brown match, Kyrie's output in this series? Can it really be a battle of dynamic duos? Um, I think this is it's an interesting script, for the finals, and it's an interesting turn for the league because I do think we are officially in this era where which one of these new guys are going to separate themselves, which new guy is going to be able to rattle off 2, 3. You know what I'm saying? So I think Tatum and Luka are both in similar situations in that sense. May I also add, because Boston also has this core locked in for at least a couple of years. So
Yeah.
same situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Crazy. We're almost at the finals. We're almost at the NBA finals. Crazy.
Okay,
Okay.
so point guard, 6 feet. Shooting guard, 6'4". Small forward, 6'6". Power forward, 6'11". Center, 6'11".
This isn't the Atlanta Hawks.
No,
I'm trying to think of another small point guard. The Knicks?
no.
No, Brunson's not 6 foot.
Um.
This is a 6 foot point guard.
Oh wait, I have to do my. I have to look at teams. That's all I gotta do.
This is a new series. You got swept the first series, but right now Miguel's up 1-0. He got you last time.
Was series? Wow. Okay.
The
It is. Drum roll, please.
Nets,
No.
the
Cleveland
Trailblazers,
Cavaliers.
No and no.
the Jazz.
Mm-mm.
Where Orlando?
Mm-mm.
Too big. Um. There's gotta be a. He said like 5 teams. Hold on. How many did we get? We're just gonna list out all of them.
Hey, I was definitely trying to. I'm definitely just throwing something out, hoping I hit something at this point.
Um. No.
I'll repeat it.
Okay.
Point guard, 6 feet. Shooting guard, 6'4". Small forward, 6'6". Power, 6'11". Center, 6'11".
The Raptors?
Mm-mm.
The Warriors?
Mm-mm.
Oh, is it the Washington Wizards?
Mm-mm.
It's
I
not
thought
Tyus
about using
Jones.
them. Mhm.
It's
No.
not Tyus. Damn. We've said nearly every team.
Mm-mm.
Well, I guess
Memphis?
No.
Charlotte.
No.
Which? All right. Okay.
New
Well,
Orleans?
New Orleans? No.
What the hell?
It
Can't be Houston.
Miami.
It's Houston.
Houston? Who's a 6 foot guard on Houston?
Fred VanVleet is 6 feet.
Oh,
All right. That's got to be a wash. We guess like 30 teams each.
no,
So,
it
I
don't
mean,
matter. It ain't no limit on guessing the team.
because that's
Oh,
crazy.
guess
I'm
the
trying to
team.
be efficient. Now I'm like just going bar for bar. I'm like, all right, it's one of the 32.
Now
Or
Why
efficiency.
did you
I'm gonna just
say?
go top to bottom, list them alphabetical. Next one, I
Now it's
got
about
you.
efficiency.
I mean, we were just
Why'd
chucking.
you say it couldn't be Houston?
Because I wasn't thinking that Van Fleet was 6 foot. I would have gave
Oh.
like 6'1".
Mhm.
I was really trying to think of small guard. Like Trey was the only real small guard I could think of.
Yeah.
Because then I was like 6'4". Because I was like I knew it wasn't Jalen Green.
He's 6'4".
But honestly, I forgot Van Fleet was in Houston for a minute. Like I forgot that was the other starting guard. So, and I looked over Houston too. I was like, nah, can't be Houston.
Mm-hmm.
I start naming it. Count, Gil. I don't want to hear that.
Hey, I'll give you that win, but I'm making an amendment. 3 guesses per.
You only get 3 guesses, so then it's a
Okay.
wash
Yeah.
if we both guess 3 and they wrong.
Oh, and then no one gets a point that day.
Bet.
Come on now.
Now
That was
Gil's so engaged that he making rules.
good win. Solid win. You got that one, King.
Series tied 1-1.
Remember, mine was guessed in 1, yours was guessed in 30.
Oh my
okay.
gosh.
That's
The
okay.
fans remember that one.
A win's a win.
A
The
win's a
fans
win.
remember that one. We're adding dimension to the boom. 3D.
Basically, what he's saying is Miguel blew you out, but you won in overtime.
That's cool.
That took you triple OT.
That's cool. Win's a win. I'll rest up for the next one. But y'all, this has been another episode of the Wright Quality Podcast. We will be both these series probably gonna be over, by the time this is out. So
Game 7, people. We're talking about that on the next emergency podcast.
good Jesus. We will more than likely be talking about previewing the finals, but nonetheless,
Wolves Boston, people, be ready.
we'll catch y'all next time. Peace.